Good morning and welcome to Elevenses. It's Sunday 24th of April. This is Elevenses 133 and it's actually recording this morning because I'm out and about as you're watching this. So it's going to be a little bit of a short one today, but what have we got for you? Well, Harley-Davidson have been hit with a huge EU tariff. I'll explain why that is. An e-scooter rider has been charged with drink driving and insurance offences. Guy Martin eyes the 300 mile per hour motorcycle land speed record again. And a different kind of motorcycle which provides access to remote farmers away from marketplaces. Oxford Products flexible body armour isn't quite the innovation it's been made out to be. So settle yourself down for the next 20 minutes or so with me, Kevin Williams. And don't forget, if you can't watch live, recording live, I suppose, you can catch up later on Facebook or here on or over on YouTube. So, right, okay, with no further ado, the training diary is booking up. So if you are interested in a course, do drop me a line. I was out yesterday in some splendid sunshine. I took Yamini out for the second part of her two-part course, and that was over my Egum Training routes, which is a relatively new training area for me, which I've had to adapt things for COVID and the shorter on-road sessions that I've been using since I've used put on online briefings and debriefings through Zoom. And something that's been said a number of times actually about the online element is it's much easier to take in the information when it's actually happening on sort of in a quiet environment. Cafes and service areas and things tend to be very noisy. Roadside isn't ideal as well, particularly when it's raining, of course. And people are rested as well when they're actually listening to this information rather than being a bit tense because we're just about to set off on a training course or tired by the end of it. So, and of course, I've got far more resources available to me as well. Anything that's on the computer I can use. Okay, that allows me to process the pre-ride briefing, but also the debrief at the end. I get the chance to run through some on-bike video, take out 20-25 minutes or so, which are pertinent to the debrief, and then we can discuss those points in depth. So that could be an issue which is something that was done very well, or it could be something that needs a little rethinking. And I have to say that because of the shorter on-road sessions, riders are a lot more fresh, even though I never did full day courses simply because I knew people were knackered by the end of it. So, okay, what do you get for your money? Well, contact time, if you combine the online and the on-road sessions, remains much the same as the pre-COVID 5 to 5.5 hour sessions. But to encourage people to give these a try, I've reduced the price. So it was £235 for a day's training in not 2019, it's down to 195 at the moment. So you can save £40 on a day's training, which has to be good. Right now, I've got dates on short order through next week, and I've also got Saturday and Sunday next week, 1st and 2nd of May available. So book one day and I'll throw in a free survival skills paperback worth over £20, and book 2 days up to the next weekend and I'll throw in 2 books. Beyond that, I've got plenty of dates in May and June, which is opened up as well. So if you do want a course, don't forget I am one of the UK's most experienced post-test instructors these days. Give me a bell and we'll see what we can work out. Right, okay, so what's going on in the world? Well, the Trump-inspired trade war between the US and much of the rest of the world may have been pushed to the back burner in the wake of the global pandemic, but it's certainly not been forgotten. You may recall that former President Trump sought to restrict imports from particular areas by raising import tariffs on certain products and on certain trading partners, including the EU. The EU responded by hiking tariffs on motorcycles and whiskey, amongst other things. And now the European Union's Economic Ministry has notified Harley-Davidson that its tariff status has been changed effective from June this year. And this has happened because the EU has revoked what's known as a binding origin information credential. I had to look that up, find out what it's all about, but basically those are cancelled with immediate effect. What it meant was that under previous rules, whilst the motorcycles built in and imported directly from the US had a 31% tariff applied, if Harley were building bikes in other locations internationally and bringing them into the EU, the tariff was just 6%. Now, the new EU regulation applies a blanket 56% total tariff regardless of point of origin. So that's going to hit Harley quite hard in Europe. Ironically, this move comes on the back of HD reporting strong first quarter numbers. In fact, their best US sales numbers for 5 years after some fairly serious decline. They actually sold just under 31,000 motorcycles in the first quarter this year, which is up 30% on a year ago, and 79% better than the fourth quarter last year. Now, it's not entirely unexpected because the improvement coincides with a switch to a new model introduction schedule. Instead of bringing out new bikes in August, which was almost the end of the riding season in much of the US, the new schedule launches them in April. So people have obviously been ordering motorcycles ready to get them out on the road for the summer. Predictably, of course, the move has sparked outrage across the big pond, which claims the tariff is exorbitant and that European regulators are trying to run the company off the road. HD have immediately said that they would launch an appeal. Whether there'll be a response from the Biden administration remains to be seen, but of course it's worth pointing out that Harley many years ago did press themselves for tariffs on motorcycles imported from Japan to prevent competition overwhelming the company. So it is a little bit ironic that they're now very upset that the opposite is being done. Okay, what else has gone in the world? Well, a 42-year-old man from Suffolk has been charged with drink driving an e-scooter. He was spotted around 1:50 in the morning on the 5th of April in Ipswich. He was tailed by police and then pulled over and breathalyzed. He failed the breath test. He blew twice the legal limit, and he was subsequently charged with drink driving. And since it's illegal to use a privately owned e-scooter on a public road, pavement, or a cycle lane, he was also charged with driving his e-scooter without insurance. There are no doubt other issues that he could have been charged with, but those are the two main ones. And he's due to appear in court at the Magistrates' Court in Ipswich on Friday, 21st of May. So it'll be interesting to see what the result of that one is. Don't forget you're watching Kevin Williams here with Survival Skills and my Elevenses show. I'm not live today. I am actually showing you a recording, but it will be going out at 11. Under normal circumstances, these shows would go out live. If you can't catch me today, you can always catch me online on YouTube, and of course they are here on Facebook as well. Right, so what else is in the news? Well, Chinese motorcycles, they're moving inexorably upwards towards the mainstream market, and I do wonder how long it will be until people genuinely start to accept them as a valid means of transport rather than some cheap knockoff, which is the perception that many people still have of Chinese motorcycles. And it could be sooner rather than later, particularly if CF Moto have much to do with it. CF Moto have an expanding dealer network. They have 20 UK dealers at the moment, and they're looking to put this up to 40 very soon. Now, to put that into context, KTM have 37 dealers, Triumph 49, Ducati 30, and Honda 78. So that's a fairly sizable dealer network. They also have an established spares supply, which is reassuring, and a 2-year warranty. And this is the latest machine to go out on show. Just get the picture up for you. There it is. That's the new 800 MT adventure bike that was on show at the Shanghai Auto Show a few days ago. The machine's been boiling under for a while. The obligatory spy shots first appeared in October 2019, and there were regular updates throughout the long COVID year of 2020. The machine's apparently offered in two versions, as you can see. There's a street-oriented adventure tourer, and there's a more off-road ready version. They both have a 19-inch and 17-inch wheel combo, which are pretty much standard sizes for this kind of bike. But the road machine sports black alloy wheels, and the off-road one has trendy gold rims and spokes. Suspension duties are taken care of by inverted KYB forks on the front side and the monoshock at the rear end. And the motor, what's the motor? Well, it's this one. Let me just zoom in on that again. It's actually KTM's LC8 parallel twin 799cc motor, which KTM have moved on from to an 890. Nevertheless, the 800 in KTM guys at least produces a fairly hefty 94 horsepower and 78.6 newton meters of peak torque. It's not known whether CF Motor will retune this from the KTM specs. It is possible. Drive will be delivered via a 6-speed gearbox. Other elements of the bike, well, a 7-inch instrument console with support for navigation, promised a host of riding aids on the bike, throttle by wire, traction control, cruise control, and cornering ABS. The level of equipment is comprehensive too, with heated grips promised, auxiliary lighting. You saw rack and pannier rails on the bike are already there, sump plates in place on the off-roader, and both bikes have a centre stand. Some photos also show the machines with handguards. So it would be nice if they aren't pricey add-ons from the book of options, but are actually standard fitment. Price we don't know as yet, but their 60 horsepower MT650, which is a slightly detuned version of Kawasaki's ER6 motor, retails at a fairly respectable £5,500, so it won't break the wallet. Okay, so what else is new? Well, Guy Martin has released a Facebook post just recently to suggest that he's looking at a second attempt on a land speed record of 300 miles per hour for a conventional motorcycle. So standing next to Project 300, which he calls a bog standard and bit tatty Suzuki Hayabusa. He listed a number of contributors to the project who've already helped to get the motorcycle ready, as well as revealing that he's been practicing again at airfields across the UK. So what he actually wrote was this: from one airfield to another, 2021 promises to be a year of answers to changes made and plenty of questions off the back of that for the 300 mile per hour job. So, okay, the Project 300 Hayabusa there, it was a second-hand bike, 7-year-old road bike, in fact, that he bought for £5,000 with 20,000 miles on the clock from a friend. In stock form, the bike's still pretty quick. It was turned over 183 miles per hour on its first run, which isn't too bad. But right now it's tuned and turbocharged, and the output is over 180 brake horsepower. Did I just say 180? I mean 830. 180 wouldn't be too impressive, would it? 830 brake horsepower. That is a fairly remarkable figure from that motor. So that took Guy to a personal best speed of 274.76 miles per hour in May last year, and that unofficially is the fastest ever recorded by somebody in the UK on a conventional motorcycle. And by the tail end of 2020, he'd got that up to 282 miles per hour. In an interview with one of his backers, Morris Lubricants, Guy admitted that finding that additional 12 miles per hour is easier said than done, and that working out how to overcome each limiting factor is a satisfying part of the process. He says you need to get to the next hurdle before you can work out a way of getting over it. There are a few little alterations I'm making, and I've got a different wheel that's been made in America to test out. These things will hopefully contribute to getting 2 miles per hour faster, but you never know, it might get me another 10 miles per hour faster. I'm just slowly going through the process of evolving everything. So, yes, let's wish Guy plenty of luck with that one. Once you get up to those kind of speeds, the need for power becomes really exponential to getting any extra pace out of the bike. So, okay, that's fast. What about long? Well, ever since people have been involved in making motorcycles, they have also been messing about with them. And they get used in many parts of the world for transport, simply getting from A to B. And this particular motorcycle is a means of transport in Cameroon, where there seems to be a unique market for stretch motorcycles. The 3-meter long bike appears to be a motorcycle taxi that's been specially adapted to meet the need for inexpensive transport in remote areas to take farmers and their crops to market, and obviously for bringing goods back to the villages. So Elizabeth Ninkum, who's a farmer, says that the bike is used by themselves to carry the family off to town. They also carry plantains, which you can see there, taro root, corn and beans to the local market in Bafoussam. The bikes are actually built in Bafoussam by two mechanics, Emmanuel Wemby and Kouati Bachile, and they build the machines in what's described as an earthen floor workshop. They weld up a new chassis, upgrade the suspension, and then bolt the engine into the middle. And they make them to order, anything from a 4-seater to a 10-seater. So that's a rather different take on motorcycling. Okay, so moving on swiftly. We hear a lot about new bike products every sort of week in the press, and this one is from Oxford Products, and the press release says, "The days of wearing uncomfortable bulky armour are over. Super thin and super flexible Oxford's dynamic protectors are here." So what are we told about them? Well, we're told that the dynamic, ultra flexible and lightweight protectors are CE approved level 2, which they point out is the highest level, and unbelievably they are just 9.3 millimeters thick and are therefore ideal but not restricted to casually styled motorcycle garments. They're available for shoulder, hip, knee and elbow. These are the hip protectors, and all for the bargain price of £30 a pair, except that the unique selling points are perhaps not quite as unique as they would like you to believe. If you accept a level 1 protector, which should be adequate for low speed use, urban riding, that kind of thing, then there's the Smart C protector. So that's the Oxford one there, and this is the one from Revit. As you can see, it looks remarkably similar, slightly different shape in the sort of bobbles, but otherwise not dissimilar at all, which makes me wonder if it's actually made by the same supplier but just poured into a different mold. And naturally they also claim flexibility as a selling point, and they're at around £10 a pair cheaper, at about 20 quid. Go further back into ancient history, of course, and you'll find that this kind of soft, flexible body armor existed as a product called Hip Protect, and I just happen to have some of it here. There it is. As you can hopefully see, it's got the same kind of bobbly, rubbery mushroom button structure. Is completely bendy, and as you'll notice also, it's remarkably around about just under 10 millimeters thick. So that's Hip Protect. Those are my very own pieces of body armor there, and that's the thicker sport model, which I believe was level 2 rated at the time. So those are probably getting on for, well, I don't know, 20 years old at least, I would guess. So there we go. Nothing much changes in the world of motorcycling, does it, at times? So, all right, so that's it for today. Back on Wednesday with a live show. Thank you for looking in. Apologies for the loss of the biking skills bit. I needed to get off and out of the house fairly pronto this morning, so I've had to cut things a little bit short, but I'll be back with that and I'll run it on Wednesday instead. So look in Wednesday and I will cover one-way streets from the playmat that we were looking at. That's it for today. Take care out there on the bikes, stay safe, and hopefully see you on Wednesday. Bye for now.